My girlfriend rejected my proposal because she wanted her friends there to watch and said I ruined the moment by doing it privately. I'm Carter. I'm 28. My girlfriend Vanessa is 26. We've been together since college. Moved in together 2 years ago. I've been planning this proposal for months. I bought the ring in January. I've been carrying it around waiting for the perfect moment. Tonight felt like that moment. We went to this upscale restaurant downtown that she loves, the place where we had our first anniversary dinner. I requested the same table. I ordered champagne. Everything was going exactly how I imagined it. After dinner, I suggested we walk through the park across the street. It's this beautiful historic park with old trees and walking paths lit by vintage street lamps. It was a clear night, not too cold, absolutely perfect. We walked for about 15 minutes until we got to this gazebo that overlooks a pond. There was nobody else around. It was just us and the sound of water and distant traffic. I got down on one knee. I pulled out the ring. I told her I loved her and wanted to spend my life with her. I asked her to marry me. She stared at me for a long second. Then she looked around the empty park. Then she looked back at me. Her face wasn't excited or surprised or happy. She looked confused and kind of annoyed. She asked, "You're doing this now here with nobody around?" I didn't understand what she meant. I told her I wanted it to be special and intimate. Just the two of us. She shook her head and said, "Carter, get up. This isn't how this is supposed to happen." I was still on one knee holding the ring, completely frozen. I asked what she meant. She sighed and told me to get up. She wasn't going to say yes to a proposal that nobody could see. I stood up slowly. I asked if she was serious. She said completely serious. She'd been planning how her proposal would go since before we even started dating. She always imagined it happening somewhere public with all her friends there to celebrate. She wanted photos and videos. She wanted people cheering. She wanted it to be a big moment that everyone could share. I told her I thought she'd prefer something private and romantic. She laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. She said I clearly didn't know her at all if I thought she'd want a proposal in an empty park where nobody could see it. She asked what the point was of getting engaged if there was nobody there to witness it. I said the point was that we love each other and want to get married. She rolled her eyes and started walking back toward the restaurant. I followed her asking what was happening. She said we were going home and we'd figure this out later. I asked if that meant she was saying no. She said she wasn't saying anything because the proposal didn't count. It didn't count because it wasn't done right. I stood there in the middle of the path watching her walk away. I genuinely didn't know what to do. I put the ring back in my pocket and caught up with her. We walked back to my car in complete silence. The drive home was awful. She spent the entire 20 minutes on her phone texting. I could see she was texting her best friend Kayla. At one point, she actually laughed at something on her screen while I was sitting there processing that my girlfriend just rejected my proposal. When we got back to our apartment, she went straight to the bedroom and closed the door. I sat on the couch for about an hour, trying to understand what just happened. Around midnight, she came out and sat down across from me. She'd clearly been on the phone with her friends because she had this whole speech prepared. She explained that her proposal expectations were important to her. She'd been envisioning this moment since she was a teenager. She always pictured getting proposed to at a party or a family gathering or somewhere public where people could celebrate with them immediately. She wanted the moment captured professionally or at least by friends with good cameras. She wanted to be able to post about it and share the experience. I asked why she never mentioned any of this before. She said she assumed I knew her well enough to understand what she'd want. She said all her friends got proposed to in big public ways, and she expected the same. I pointed out that I was trying to be romantic and thoughtful by making it private and special. She said it just came across as low effort, like I didn't care enough to plan something impressive. That's when I kind of lost it. I told her I'd been planning this for months. I made reservations at her favorite restaurant. I'd picked a meaningful location. I'd spent 3 months saving for the ring. She waved that off and said the ring and the restaurant were fine, but the actual proposal was disappointing. She said we should do it again properly. I asked what that meant. She said we should plan an engagement party, invite all our friends, and I could propose there in front of everyone. I asked if she understood how insane that sounded. She got defensive and said it wasn't insane to want her engagement to be memorable and shareable. I said it should be memorable because of our relationship, not because of Instagram likes. She accused me of being dismissive of her feelings. I said I was trying to understand why a private proposal made me doing it wrong. She said I clearly didn't get it, and maybe we needed to take a break to figure out if we were actually compatible. I grabbed my keys and left. That was 3 hours ago. I've been driving around aimlessly. I stopped here to get gas, and I've been sitting in the parking lot reading her texts. She sent 42 messages. They started apologetics, saying she overreacted and we should talk. Then they shifted to planning mode, saying she has ideas for how we can redo it. Now, they're getting angry asking why I'm not responding and saying I'm being immature. I don't know what to do. I thought I knew this person. I thought I was giving her exactly what she'd want. Apparently, I was completely wrong about everything. I'm supposed to go home eventually, but I genuinely don't know what I'm going home to anymore. Update: 8 days later. I didn't go home that night. I drove to my brother's place around 4 in the morning. He let me crash on his couch without asking too many questions. The next day, Vanessa called him demanding to know if I was there. My brother told her I was fine and needed space. She showed up at his apartment that evening. My brother didn't let her in, but she stood in the hallway for 20 minutes yelling through the door that we needed to talk. I stayed at my brother's for 3 days. During that time, Vanessa sent over 300 text messages. The messages went through every possible emotion: apologetic, angry, confused, planning mode, where she'd send me Pinterest boards of proposal ideas, back to angry when I wouldn't respond. On day 3, she sent a long message saying she'd talked to her therapist and realized she needed to communicate better about her expectations. She asked me to come home so we could discuss everything like adults. I went back to the apartment on day 4. She'd apparently spent the entire time I was gone preparing for this conversation. She had notes. She'd made a list of her relationship needs that she wanted to discuss. The first item on the list was public displays of commitment and celebration. She explained that physical touch and quality time were love languages, but she had this deep need for external validation that her therapist was helping her work through. She needs to feel validated through public recognition of our relationship. That's why she posts about us constantly on social media. That's why she wants big gestures in front of other people. That's why the private proposal didn't work for her. I told her that sounded like something she needed to address in therapy, not something I needed to accommodate. She got upset and said I was dismissing her feelings again. I said I wasn't trying to dismiss anything, but I was struggling to understand why our private moment wasn't enough. She said that was the problem. I kept centering my perspective instead of understanding hers. The proposal was supposed to be about what she wanted, not what I thought was romantic. We talked in circles for 2 hours. She kept insisting that redoing the proposal publicly was the solution. I kept saying I didn't want to stage a fake proposal for social media. She said it wouldn't be fake because she'd say yes this time. I said it felt fake because everyone would know it was a redo. She said nobody had to know that. We just wouldn't mention the first attempt. Her friend Kayla came over that evening. Apparently Vanessa had invited her without telling me. Kayla spent an hour explaining that all of Vanessa's friends got proposed to in amazing ways. One got proposed to at her birthday party. One got proposed to during a surprise family reunion. One got proposed to at a concert in front of thousands of people. Kayla kept emphasizing that Vanessa deserved the same level of effort and spectacle. I pointed out that I did put in effort. I planned a romantic evening. Kayla said romantic doesn't equal memorable. She said in 10 years Vanessa would barely remember a quiet proposal in a park, but she'd never forget a proposal with all her loved ones present. I asked if the actual commitment mattered less than the performance. Kayla looked at me like I was stupid and said the performance is part of the commitment. After Kayla left, Vanessa asked what I was thinking. I told her honestly that I was questioning whether we wanted the same thing from a marriage. She started crying. She said I was giving up on us over one disagreement. I said it wasn't the disagreement itself, but what it revealed about our different values. She accused me of being dramatic and said we could work through this if I'd just agree to do the proposal properly. I asked her point blank what would happen after we got engaged. Would she need a huge public wedding? Would she need to constantly post about her marriage for it to feel real to her? Would every milestone need an audience? She said I was twisting her words. She just wanted one moment, one public proposal. Then everything else could be whatever we decided together. I said I didn't believe that. She asked what I meant. I told her I'd left the ring in my nightstand drawer before I left for my brother's place, and when I looked for it this morning, it was gone. I asked where it was. She said it was in her purse. She'd taken it because she wanted to see it. Update: 5 weeks later. We've been doing couples counseling for the past month. Our therapist has been trying to get us to understand each other's perspectives. Vanessa maintains that her need for public validation isn't shallow or attention-seeking. It's genuinely how she processes important life events. She needs external feedback to feel like things are real. Our therapist suggested this might stem from some deeper issues around self-worth, but Vanessa doesn't want to explore that. The proposal situation has somehow gotten worse. Vanessa told all her friends that we're engaged, even though I never proposed again, and she never actually said yes. She posted on Instagram 3 weeks ago that she couldn't be happier with ring and heart emojis. No actual photo of the ring, because she still has it hidden somewhere and won't show anyone. People started commenting, asking to see it, and she kept saying she'd post photos later. Her family started calling, asking about wedding plans. I had to tell my parents that no, we're not actually engaged, but yes, she's telling people we are. When I confronted her about the post, she said she was just manifesting what she wanted. She said if she treated it like we were engaged, then eventually it would become real. I told her that's not how engagements work. She said I was being rigid and unromantic. I pointed out that she was the one who rejected my actual proposal. She said that didn't count because it wasn't done properly. Last week, she threw herself an engagement party. I'm not kidding. She planned an entire party, invited 40 people, rented a private room at a restaurant. She told me about it 2 days before and said this was my opportunity to propose the right way. She'd arranged for her friend, who's a photographer, to be there. She'd even planned what she'd wear. She said all I had to do was show up and get down on one knee at some point during the party. I told her I wasn't doing that. She broke down completely. She said I didn't love her. If I loved her, I'd give her this one thing she wanted. I said if she loved me, she wouldn't need a performance to feel secure in our relationship. She called me selfish and said I was ruining her life. I asked how I was ruining her life by not proposing when she'd already rejected me. She screamed that she didn't reject me. She just asked me to do it differently. The party happened without me. I didn't go. She went alone and apparently told everyone I was sick. Her friends have been blowing up my phone, calling me an asshole for missing my own engagement party. A few of them know the truth because Vanessa's story started falling apart. Her best friend Kayla called me yesterday and said I was being cruel. Vanessa planned this beautiful party and I couldn't show up and give her 5 minutes of public proposal. I told Kayla that Vanessa planned a party for an engagement that didn't exist. Kayla said it could exist if I'd stop being stubborn. Our therapist suggested we take a break from each other. She said we're stuck in a pattern that isn't productive. Vanessa refused. She said taking a break would ruin everything. People would ask questions. She'd have to explain that we're having problems. I said we're having problems. She said we're having problems because I won't compromise. I've started looking at apartments. I haven't told Vanessa yet, but I don't think this is fixable. She's so focused on the aesthetic of an engagement that she's completely lost sight of what an engagement actually means. Yesterday, she sent me a link to a proposal planner service, people who will choreograph and film elaborate proposals. She said if I hired them, they'd handle everything, and all I'd have to do is show up and follow the script. I didn't respond. Final update. 6 weeks later. I moved out 3 weeks ago. I found a studio apartment across town. I told Vanessa I needed space and time to think. She completely spiraled. She called my brother, my parents, my friends, everyone, telling them I abandoned her right after proposing. Her version of events made me sound like a monster who got her hopes up and then disappeared. My mom called asking what was really going on. I explained everything, the private proposal she rejected, her demand for a public redo, the fake engagement posts, the party I didn't attend. My mom was quiet for a long time, then said, "That's not normal, Carter. You know that's not normal, right?" Hearing my mom say it out loud made something click. I'd been so caught up in trying to understand Vanessa's perspective that I'd lost sight of how unreasonable the whole situation was. 2 weeks ago, Vanessa showed up at my new apartment. I still don't know how she got my address, but she probably got it from someone in my family. She was crying. She had the ring with her, the ring she'd taken from our apartment months ago. She said she was ready to say yes now. She didn't need the big public proposal anymore. She just needed me to come home. I asked what changed. She said she realized she was being unreasonable and she was sorry. We talked for over an hour. She apologized for everything, for rejecting the proposal, for caring too much about what other people thought, for posting that we were engaged when we weren't. She said she'd been doing a lot of therapy work, and she understood now that seeking external validation was unhealthy. She wanted to start over. She wanted us to get engaged privately and plan a life together without worrying about social media or what her friends thought. I wanted to believe her. Part of me still cared about her and wanted this to work out, but something fell off. I asked if she told her friend she was here. She hesitated, then admitted that Kayla was waiting in the car downstairs. I asked why. She said Kayla drove her because she was too emotional to drive herself. I didn't believe that. I looked out my window and could see Vanessa's car in the parking lot with someone in the driver's seat holding up a phone. I asked Vanessa if Kayla was recording this. She started crying harder and said it wasn't like that. I asked her to leave. She begged me to listen. She said she meant everything she was saying. I told her to get out. She left the ring on my coffee table and walked out. Kayla posted a video 2 days later. It was heavily edited. It showed Vanessa walking into my building looking devastated, then cut to her leaving crying. The caption was about how she'd beg her ex-fiancé to take her back after one misunderstanding, and he refused. The comments were brutal, people calling me every name imaginable, saying I led her on, saying I proposed, then changed my mind. Dozens of messages from people I've never met telling me I'm garbage. I had to make my own social media post explaining my side. I didn't want to, but the harassment was getting out of control. I explained that I proposed privately. She rejected it because her friends weren't there. She demanded a public redo. She posted about being engaged without my knowledge. I never called off an engagement because we never actually got engaged. The response was mixed. Some people got it. A lot of people said we both sounded toxic and should move on. Yesterday, Vanessa sent me a message, just one. It said, I hope you're happy you got what you wanted. Now everyone thinks I'm crazy. I didn't respond. I'm done responding. I'm done trying to explain or understand or fix this. Our therapist was right. We want fundamentally different things from a relationship. I've been doing better lately. My brother came over last weekend and helped me set up my apartment properly. We went to IKEA and got actual furniture instead of the random stuff I'd been using. We built a bookshelf together, and he made fun of me for still having books from college. It felt normal for the first time in months. He asked if I still had feelings for Vanessa. I told him honestly, I don't know anymore. I cared about her for 4 years, but I don't think I ever really knew her. All the signs were there. She always needed constant validation. She always cared too much about appearances. I just didn't think it would matter this much when it came to us. The ring sat on my coffee table for 2 weeks after she left it there. I finally returned it to the jeweler last Thursday. They gave me about 60% of what I paid back. I used the money to buy a new mattress. My brother thought that was hilarious. He said I traded a failed engagement for a better night's sleep. He's not wrong. I got my stuff from our old apartment yesterday. Vanessa's parents were there like she said they'd be. They were actually really nice about it. Her dad helped me carry boxes down to my car. He apologized for everything. He said they knew Vanessa could be difficult, but they didn't realize how bad things had gotten. He said he hoped I'd find someone who appreciated me. Her mom gave me a hug and told me to take care of myself. It was weirdly emotional. Almost cried loading the last box into my car. Vanessa wasn't there. She'd apparently gone to stay with Kayla for the day, so she wouldn't have to see me. Her dad mentioned that she'd been struggling. She stopped going to therapy after I moved out. She deleted all her social media accounts after the backlash from Kayla's video got too intense. Part of me feels bad for her, but mostly I just feel relieved it's over. I start a new job next month. It's in a different department of my company with better pay. I applied for it back when things were still good with Vanessa. I'd forgotten about it until they called last week with an offer. My brother said it's a sign that good things are coming. I told him that's cheesy, but I'll take it. We're going out to celebrate tonight. Just the two of us, nothing fancy. Probably just burgers and beer. Exactly what I need right now.